Here it is, the world's finest imaging detector. The Garrett GTI 2500 Deep Seeker with Treasure Vision. And it's so simple to operate. Press one touchpad, listen to Treasure Talk,
ready, discriminate, coins,
and you're ready to hunt. Just a glance at the display screen reports your exact operating status. Here, we're in a discriminate coins search mode with bell tone audio. You can hear the threshold that's already been set at the factory. At the top of the screen are the familiar GTA scales, indicating the detector's precise discrimination pattern. It's now set to hunt for coins, but you can change it easily. Below is the imaging grid that will indicate the size of your targets. We'll talk a lot more about this later. But now, I know that you want to go out and hunt. Pressing that one touchpad was all you needed to do. So, let's go find some coins. Mr. Garrett recommends that we swing the search coil back and forth in a straight line as we walk forward. Notice that the coil is held an inch or two above the ground. Since we're operating in a discrimination mode, we have to keep the detector moving slightly for detection to occur. Any acceptable metal target that we find will cause an increase in sound. If Treasure Talk Search is activated, you will also get a voice report from the GTI. All targets, good and bad, are always indicated on your display.
9+.
What do you know? There's our first discovery. Let's check the display to see if it agrees with a voice. Yep, it's a 9+. This cursor on the top scale indicates what we found. This target will hold for 2 seconds or until something new is found. You can see by the target ID guide above the top scale that we may have located a quarter, especially if Treasure Imaging determines it to be a B-size target. Press Treasure Imaging and let's see. Yep. See the oval extending to the B lines? You'll learn that all U.S. coins and most rings will be indicated by this B size. Look again at the Target ID guide, and you'll see how it helps relate the location of the cursor with the imaging grid to assist in identifying your target. Now, move the search coil around a little to discover just exactly where the coin is located. You'll discover that centering your target is especially important in determining its size. Okay, let's dig it up. Just like the voice told us, 9+, a quarter on the ID guide, and it's a silver one too. Let's find another target, and this time we'll use the Treasure Imaging mode to determine depth as well as size. Because the discrimination of your GTI in its coins mode has been preset at the factory to hunt for coins and similar targets, this instrument will not respond to most junk items. When you get an acceptable target, you'll hear clear, strong signals like that made by our quarter.
9+.
Now that sounds like another coin. The GTA scale indicates that it may be another quarter. Let's use the Treasure Imaging mode to check for size and depth. Place your search coil on the ground directly above the target. Press and hold the Treasure Imaging touchpad and scan back and forth. You'll notice a more distinct audio sound when the target is directly beneath the search coil center. You'll notice, too, that you can hold your search coil absolutely still when using the Treasure Imaging mode. Movement is not necessary. We press and hold the Treasure Imaging touchpad while continuing to move the coil around. Watch the upper scale segments illuminate from left to right to indicate signal strength. The maximum reading attained toward the right will occur when the target is beneath the center of your search coil. Check Treasure Vision for conductivity, size, and target depth in inches. By looking at the Treasure Imaging grid, we can confirm the target size. See, the oval extends to the B lines. That means it's probably a coin or a small ring. And the 4-inch depth is also confirmed. Now, release the touchpad and hear size and target depth in inches.
Size B at 4 inches.
Let's dig down 4 inches and find out just what it is. Sure enough, it's another quarter. You don't really need any more than this knowledge to find treasure for the rest of your life with the GTI. Yet, it's such an amazing instrument that I know you'll want to take advantage of all its capabilities. So, let's learn all about them. This marvelous detector offers you 3 completely different modes of hunting. First of all is the discriminate mode, which you entered automatically by turning on the detector. Press the all-metal touchpad and you're in a genuine deep-seeking all-metal mode, which permits the deepest kind of treasure hunting. Third is the treasure imaging mode, which you entered by pressing this touchpad, and you've already had some experience with it. But first, let's learn how you can adjust any of the controls to make the detector hunt just the way you want it to hunt, and to locate just the targets you're looking for. You can regulate the GTI for any kind of treasure hunting with these touchpads. And it's here on this control panel that you can determine exactly how you want to hunt. This GTA reports online information. What you see is what you get. All your options are explained in this owner's manual. If you haven't done so, I urge you to read the manual carefully. You'll notice that Garrett prints its manuals in a size that fits easily into your pocket. So study it carefully, then take it into the field with you. This treasure vision screen with its imaging grid is the most obvious difference between the GTI and other detectors. But there are many others, and this single touchpad represents one of the major improvements that the treasure hunter can expect from the GTI. Press it and the screen shows all metal, and that's exactly what it permits you to do. Hunt in a genuine all metal mode. Any experienced treasure hunter will explain that you can always search deeper and with more sensitivity in this mode. We're going to talk more about all-metal hunting in a minute. But it's as a discrimination detector that the GTI will probably be used most of the time, and since most of the adjustments apply to the discriminate modes, we'll review them first. Your GTI offers 5 different discriminate hunting modes, 4 set at the factory, and 1 that you can style and save for yourself. When you turned on the detector, you are automatically operating in the factory preset coins detection mode, with discrimination, as shown on the lower scale, preset for the rejection of trash targets generally found in coin hunting. Press the menu touchpad and your mode selections appear.
Discriminate coins.
In setting any mode or function on a detector with a graphic target analyzer, the words that are steady and not blinking, coins in this case, indicate the manner in which the instrument is currently operating. To change your mode selection, press the plus touchpad until the name of the mode you select is constant. Say 0.
0.
Then press Operate, and you'll be hunting with no discrimination. Of course, anytime you press the Operate touchpad and see the word Search appear, you're ready to hunt. Now, let's press Menu again.
Discriminate 0.
Then the plus touchpad to select other discrimination mode options.
Custom. Coins.
Choose Custom, Jewelry, Relics, 0, or the Coins mode. Note the changes that occurred in discrimination as shown on the lower scale. Now press Menu again, and the detector tells you
Sensitivity 9.
You'll note that the factory setting for discriminate mode sensitivity, or detection depth, is about 75%, as shown on the upper GTA scale. Of course, you always want to hunt as deep as possible, but ground mineralization and other conditions may sometimes limit just how deep you can set your detector. Press the plus touchpad to increase depth and sensitivity. Then, watch the squares in the upper scale and listen.
9 plus.
The squares and voice indicate the sensitivity of your detector. This control option permits you to achieve all of the detection depth that is possible under any conditions. Press menu again. The next option,
Threshold 7.5.
permits you to use the plus and minus touchpads to adjust the operating threshold. That's the audible sound produced by your detector when you turn it on and while you're scanning. You can see your changes are indicated instantly on both the upper and lower scales.
0.8.
Each press of the plus touchpad causes segments on the lower scale to move rather rapidly to the right or to the left if you press the minus pad.
0.5.
After 20 movements on the lower scale, an upper scale segment will move. This operation is similar to that of the decimal system. When headphones are being used by plugging them in this jack at the rear of the battery case on your GTI, you'll probably need to lower your threshold level since sound is more audible through headphones. Remember that Mr. Garrett and his engineers all recommend the use of headphones. Your next option,
Frequency 4.
reflects the ability of your GTI to operate at 8 different detection frequencies. You may never want to use this option as long as you're hunting alone. When you're engaged in competition hunting or searching with others, you'll often find detectors interfering with each other, or you may sometimes hear an erratic sound caused by outside electrical or atmospheric interference. When this happens, access frequency selection and just press the plus or minus touchpads to change to a new frequency.
5.
Both the voice and upper scale will reflect your changes. When you press menu again,
Volume 10 plus.
you are told and can see on the upper scale the volume level at which your targets will sound.
11.
Plus and minus pads are used to regulate.
10 plus.
Since this adjustment controls the volume of sound produced by the GTI only when a target is encountered, it will not affect the threshold level you have selected as the primary audio function of your detector. The next feature
Tone 3.
is tone, which determines the pitch of the sound produced by your detector. The voice told you factory setting, and it is also shown on the upper scale. Touching the plus pad will raise the tone into a higher treble range,
7 plus.
while touching the minus pad will lower it into more of a bass range.
3.
Experiment to determine the pitch that suits your hearing. Press menu again and you hear
Search with image off.
the blinking letters and the voice you just heard indicate that the imaging function of your detector will function only when you press Treasure Imaging to enter that mode. After you gain experience with the detector, you might wish to hunt with this image turned on. If so, just press the plus touchpad.
On.
Of course, you can turn it off at any time by pressing the minus pad.
Off.
Continuing to scroll through the selections, we hear
Surface elimination off.
the feature of surface elimination is sometimes known as blanking. It will be helpful in areas where large amounts of trash are present on the surface. Utilizing this function will eliminate detection of coin-size objects to the specified depth, which we will now set to 2 inches by pressing the plus pad 2 times.
2 inches.
If you don't want to use this function, make certain that no squares appear on the upper scale, indicating that the depth level is set to 0.
Off.
Another feature on the GTI is
Salt elimination off.
When hunting on an ocean beach or any area with high salt content, you may want to eliminate interference caused by wetted salt. Press the plus touchpad to turn on salt elimination.
On.
Press the minus pad to cause the words on your screen to blink, indicating that the feature is turned off.
Off.
Next, you have a choice about the sound your GTI will make when it finds a coin. In the discriminate modes, you have your choice of 3 types of sounds you can hear when you detect a target. Remember the ringing sound you heard when you found that quarter?
9 plus.
That's Garrett's exclusive Coin Alert bell tone audio. When you scroll through your discriminate mode options, you'll find the word bell tone not blinking and hear
Bell tone. On.
press the minus pad to turn it off if you prefer standard audio.
Off.
Press menu again and you'll be offered your third option.
Bi-level. Off.
And see the word bi-level blinking. 2 distinctly different types of sound are produced when this audio option is chosen.
On.
Targets of lower conductivity are announced with a sound that is pitched slightly lower. Generally, these are targets that register lower on the target ID scale. Silver coins and other targets of higher conductivity produce a higher pitched sound. When both bell tone and bi-level are blinking to indicate that they are turned off, the detector searches with standard audio. You'll want to try out all 3 of these options when you bench test your GTI or in your test plot. Press menu again and you hear
Treasure talk. Menu.
this selection choice concerns treasure talk, just how much of it you want or whether you even want any at all. When this option is displayed, pressing the minus touchpad turns off the voice totally.
Off.
Press plus again
Menu.
to turn it on, and you have 3 choices. Talk menu lets you hear prompting only when using the menu touchpad to set your detector's options. Press plus for
Image.
Talk image lets the detector provide information when adjustments are being made, but you also will hear target size and depth when the treasure imaging touchpad is pressed and held while pinpointing over the target. Press plus again,
Search.
and you get the full range of voice information as you hunt, which includes location of the target cursor on the top scale, as well as the sizing letter for acceptable targets. There's another control that pertains to the talking function. Press this touchpad,
9 plus.
and you'll hear about the last target you discovered. You'll need this final selection on the display only when you're using rechargeable batteries.
Standard battery.
Press plus
NiCad battery.
to turn on the word NiCad. Press minus
Standard battery.
to return your gauge to measuring standard batteries. Whether you're using rechargeables or regular batteries, you will see that 5 squares are shown when your batteries are fully charged. When only 2 squares remain, this indicator will appear, and the voice
Low battery power.
will also tell you that battery life is getting short. Occasionally, check this indicator so that you're not surprised by battery failure. And while we're talking about batteries, let's learn how to change them. They can be found under the armrest, which slips back easily. Then, slide up the 2 battery case covers and tilt the detector to slide out the 2 battery containers. Next, change the 8 AA batteries, making certain that the new cells are aligned properly. And finally, put the holders back in the battery pack with the circles toward the center. Slide the doors on and slip the battery case back into position. Rechargeable batteries can be used in the GTI 2500. Complete instructions for their use can be found in your owner's manual. The next search aid, backlight,
Backlight off.
will turn on automatically whenever the unit is in the menu mode. The control panel of your GTI is now lighted, so you can use it at night or in dark places. The backlight will turn itself off when you press Operate unless you have activated the function by pressing the plus pad to turn it on.
On.
Press minus to turn off the function and cause the word to blink again.
Off.
To maximize battery life, it is recommended that the backlight is turned off whenever it is not needed. Now, here's a tip you should always remember. You can instantly restore factory settings on all controls by holding the power touchpad for about 5 seconds until you hear 2 beeps.
Factory preset. Ready. Discriminate. Coins.
And now you know how the amazing GTI 2500 can be regulated to suit the style of any treasure hunter. But here's a tip from Charles Garrett. Leave it in the coins mode with factory settings unless you really have a reason for changing any of these settings. And one of the most important of these reasons would concern detection modes. When we turned on the power, the 2500 was operating in a discriminate coins mode. You can easily select the discriminate 0 mode or any of the others. And there's another important control on this detector that makes it quite easy for you to hunt in 2 separate discriminate modes, almost at the same time. You can instantly switch from one mode to the other with this last mode touchpad. You can see that the detector is now operating in the discriminate 0 mode. But just by pressing the last mode touchpad, we're hunting in the coins mode again. The ability to change between any 2 discriminate modes so easily gives us the opportunity to check all of our targets quickly and simply by switching between modes. Or we can have a 3-mode detector by switching to the deep-seeking all-metal mode, which we will learn about in a minute. You should also remember that whenever you turn off your detector and turn it back on,
Power off. Ready. Metal.
it will begin hunting in the same mode you had been using last. Now, let's learn how discrimination segments can combine with imaging to open the door for you to a kind of hunting you've only dreamed of before. When you turn on your detector in the discriminate coins mode, discrimination has been preset at the factory. You're ready to hunt for coins, and the detector will report on targets whose conductivity is represented by the darkened segments on the lower scale. You can see that a target is indicated by a cursor on the upper scale. But is it really a coin? How many times have you found trash like this with conductivity that somehow locates it here on the GTA Target Analyzer? Well, it would be right in the middle of the discrimination control of this old-style detector. To dial out such a trash target, you'd have to set discrimination on the old detector so high that you would miss many valuable coins or pieces of jewelry. Not with a GTI. You can adjust your detector to reject this particular target, yet not reject targets with even slightly more or less conductivity. There are 2 ways to do this. The simplest is to pass the offending target across your search coil. See the detection cursor appear on the upper scale? Now, press the Accept Reject touchpad, and the segment disappears on the lower scale. This means that you won't find any more targets with that level of conductivity. If you want to accept a particular target for which the segment is not shown, follow the same rules. When you pass the target over your search coil, you can see the target cursor appear on the upper scale. Press Accept Reject to make the segment appear on the lower scale. This ensures that your GTI will detect targets of this conductivity. The second way to change discrimination segments is to use the plus and minus touchpads to move the cursor across the upper scale. When it is positioned above the appropriate segment, use the Accept Reject touchpad to add that segment. See? The lower scale segment appears. Or, press the same pad when the segment is showing to make certain your detector eliminates a target with that level of conductivity. Now, we've done all this while operating in the Discriminate Coins mode. But we can make similar modifications in any of the other 4 Discriminate modes. Whenever we change one of these factory detection modes, any modifications that we made for a current hunting session will disappear when the detector is turned off. The GTI offers a custom mode, however, especially designed to be set by the user. In this mode, you can use the Accept Reject touchpads, as we have discussed, to design discrimination to your own specifications, and the detector will retain your settings even after you turn it off and turn it on again. And remember, you can press the Operate pad at any time, see the word Search appear, and begin hunting. Now, you may never want to use these modes or these methods of discrimination, but they will always be ready for you. And who knows, someday you may be looking for a lost earring to match this one. You know that it's lost somewhere nearby, so just set your GTI to accept only this piece of jewelry. And it will reject all other metal targets while locating the lost earring. Or you may be hunting in an area where you are plagued with just one special type of trash. Reject it. And continue to hunt in the Discriminate Zero mode for every other metallic target. Let's learn more about imaging. We found something, and the target ID guide says it could be a coin, a screw top, maybe a large can, or even a cache. Let's press the imaging touchpad and learn that it's a B-size target, which means it's most likely a coin or a small ring. What kind of coin? The target ID says a dime. Let's dig it up and see. What do you know? A silver dime. That's what Treasure Vision is all about, helping you identify what you found before you dig. The GTI has 5 size ranges: A, B, C, D, and E. A indicates a target smaller than a coin. B is coin size. C is larger than a coin. D represents a 12-ounce can, and E is an object larger than a can. Let's examine some targets. Here's a soft drink can. Let's see what imaging says about this. It's a D-size target on the imaging grid, and that means probably a can, which we know that it was. How about this screw top? It's a C-size target. And from where it's located on the upper scale in relation to the target ID guide, we can determine that it's a screw top. Just one more, the ever-present pull tab. Treasure Vision tells us it's another size C, and its location on the scale shows it as probably a pull tab. I hope you don't find too many of these, but we urge you to experiment with the imaging function of your GTI. You'll be amazed at what it can tell you if you just stop, listen, and look. And above all, think. Now, let's close this instruction video with a few words about the detector's true all-metal mode. This mode is especially important to all of you who want truly maximum depth and don't mind digging some junk. You'll always want to use this mode when maximum depth is sought, when looking for caches or deep relics. You'll also look for gold in the deep-seeking all-metal mode. Your options for depth, threshold, tone, volume, frequency, and talk will be set just as you set them for the discriminate modes. And the battery gauge will continue to report on either standard or rechargeable batteries as you instruct. It is ground balance that has always offered the major challenge to anyone hunting in a deep-seeking, all-metal mode, setting up the detector to ignore ground minerals. And no matter how well you regulate your detector, you can hit a patch of highly mineralized soil, like this spot on our Garrett test grounds. With the GTI, however, ground balancing is now oh so easy. Just hold down the all-metal pad
Fast track.
and bounce the search coil from 2 to 8 inches above the ground. You'll notice that the touchpad also says Fast Track. Well, that's the name of Garrett's exclusive method of instantaneous ground balance. And when we continue searching in the deep-seeking all-metal mode, a special detector circuit we call Auto Track will operate to keep the detector properly ground balanced at all times. Except when we get really mineralized soil like we're finding now in the Garrett test area. But your GTI has a solution for this too. We scroll to Manual Ground Balance.
Manual ground balance. 1.15.
Let's now learn how to use it. Raise and lower the search coil. Since the sounds are growing softer, just press the plus touchpad and raise and lower the search coil again.
0.4.
Sounds like we went too far. So let's press the minus pad until the sound returns to the proper threshold level.
0.3.
And we can continue searching. Let me emphasize that the Fast Track and Ground Track automatic circuitry will almost always provide all the ground balancing your GTI ever needs. Use manual ground balancing only when you have the experience to be certain that it is required. Here's a trick that sounds like magic, using discrimination in the all-metal mode. You've just detected a target, so let's press Imaging and examine it more closely by matching our grid against the target ID guide. C-sized. And look where the cursor is. Want to dig a pull tab? I didn't think so. You see, we let the imaging grid and the GTA scales discriminate for us. There you have it, a brief but complete introduction to the Garrett GTI 2500, a truly marvelous metal detector.